That insolent woman! Greta smacked the chair as she was now left helpless before Alessandra and her husband. If she had not sent Clark back home, she would have preferred to bring him along instead of Katrina. If you want me out of your house so badly, give me back my cane. Alfred! Alessandra called to the butler, since she would not do it. Seeing her pick up the cane and hand it to her after throwing it to the side might be fun for her grandmother. I want to return to our room, she whispered to Edgar. The couple then left while Alfred helped the woman he wished to teach manners because of her grumpy personality. You scared the hell out of her. Are you planning to cut her again? Alessandra asked as they walked up the stairs. Yes, I gave her a pretty clear warning to stay away from you, but she did not listen, Edgar replied. I don't think she came of her own free will. From what I remember, my grandmother hated Katrina. Clark is looking to own the home, so Katrina must be playing nice to Greta, either to get rid of Clark, or she's being nice to get some money out of this. Katrina is smart enough not to come here willingly, Alessandra said. Alessandra knew Katrina's personality well, to know the woman would never walk into Edgar's home after he cut her face. The woman would try other dirty tricks, making it hard to point back to her as the culprit. This visit today was all her grandmother's doing. If the inheritance isn't here by night, I would like to notify you. Can you help me retrieve the letter from the court about my inheritance? I want to see what is supposed to be mine and ensure I get everything belonging to me tonight. He could get it for her with Edgar's connection in the next hour. No problem. Alessandra, did you ever hear the Baroness talk about her life before your father? No. Never once did Kate ask about her relatives from her mother's side. I don't know if my father even had an idea of Katrina's origin. Or maybe he believed whatever story she told him. She is certainly not from Lockwood. No friends or relatives from her life before have ever visited our home, Alessandra realized, now that Edgar had brought it up. Sounds like she has successfully left whatever life she had before out of Lockwood. Someone outside Lockwood would have to recognize her when they hear the name and see the face. Likely, Katrina might not be her real name. Still, anyone should recognize the face, so how can she hide her past? Edgar encountered many people running from their past, so they changed their names and, often, their appearance. 9 times out of 10, they would have someone helping with the transition. He had many questions that needed to be answered now. What was the last name Katrina used before her marriage? How was she able to meet the Baron? The Baron cared a lot about his reputation not to marry a woman who came to him with nothing, even if she was young and beautiful. Katrina would have just been his mistress. Katrina must have appeared before him a certain way, but how? Do you think she had someone helping her? Alessandra asked. Yes, and if I find that person, I will know exactly what she was trying to hide. I will take care of it. Edgar ruffled Alessandra's hair, only to receive a glare for messing up Sally's hard work. Alessandra tried her best to fix Edgar's mess and said, I was not always outside of my bedroom to see if she had anyone showing up looking for her, but if anyone would know, it is the butler before James. He was a nice man. Katrina had fired him for some reason. I do not know where he lives now, but his name is Eugene Palmer. That should be enough. Caleb and I have something to do in town, but it shouldn't be long. Do not leave home since you are without a guard. I know. Alessandra interrupted Edgar before he could give her another lecture. I find it suspicious that you and Caleb now have to leave home. Had those two not arrived, Caleb would have been outside with me, and you told me you were staying home today because of the snow. Where do you have to go? In town, Edgar replied. I know that, but where in town are you going? Alessandra asked. To the red light district. But I promise it is not what you think. I have no intentions of. I know. You plan to go there to get information, right? Alessandra knew he wasn't going there to sleep with anyone, since he brought this up a few times. Still, it would be best to send Caleb inside instead of you. I cannot deal with rumors that you have already grown bored of me. Do not give the town something to gossip about, and be back before dinner. Yes, 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 Edgar quickly replied. As Alessandra returned to their bedroom, he left to search for Caleb. If there was one place he could find out about this Eugene man and dig around for more information about Katrina, it was the red light district. It was a place where men went to get drunk and enjoy themselves, but they often got too drunk and blabbered many secrets. The women there had many stories to tell for the right price. Caleb, Edgar called to the tall brute, who seemed to be annoying Sally. Come with me. Sally, inform Alfred I will be out for a few hours and then stay by my wife. Yes, Duke, Sally replied. Caleb went to Edgar's side and asked, Where are we going? To the red light district. But you are married, said Caleb. The Duchess was excellent, so Caleb would not stand for the Duke stepping out on her. Edgar stopped walking and looked at the man who should know more than anyone why he was going there. I have no memory loss, Caleb. I am aware that I am married. I will not be seen going inside. You will, and then we will go somewhere else. Sometimes I wonder why your brother works at the gates and you are beside me. Sometimes I just want to. Edgar positioned his hands like he would strangle Caleb. I'm sorry. I'm still the better fighter, so I am in here, Caleb muttered. If word of me going into the red light district gets back to everyone on the estate, I'd like to request you clarify why I was there, said Caleb. Edgar opened his eyes and looked at Caleb sitting across from him as the carriage moved. Why? Is it to ensure the woman you claim to have no feelings for won't judge why you are there? Silly me. I thought there was nothing to clarify if no feelings were involved. Confess your feelings so she can reject them and let you move on. Your one-sided love story bores me to the point of no return. Once again, Caleb did not see why anyone thought he liked Sally. The woman was just fun to be around, and he considered her a good friend. I do not have a one-sided love story, he replied. I should make this pathetic crush you have interesting by placing bets with others to see how long it will take you to realize your feelings. The longer you wait, the bigger opening you make for someone to snatch her away, said Edgar. Caleb could not believe that out of all people, Edgar was giving him relationship advice that he did not need. Times truly have changed. I never thought you would be giving me advice about a woman. Good to see you wouldn't want me to miss a chance with Sally. That is, if I liked her. I truly do not care whether you end up together. It is annoying to be asked by Alessandra if the two of you will end up together when your union does not change my life. It will change your lives if you do have relationship drama and do not take care of Alessandra as I am paying you to. If you were to fire one of us, it wouldn't be me. Isn't that the butler from the Baroness's home? Caleb asked as his attention shifted to the man the carriage passed. Why is the butler carrying food from the market in this weather? Why are they even traveling to the market instead of having their food delivered like everyone else in the neighborhood? Because they are on the verge of being poor, Edgar replied, tapping on the carriage walls to stop it. The Barretts no longer had the luxury of ordering their vegetables and meat, which was slightly more expensive than going to town. Let him in when he reaches the carriage. Caleb peeped out the window at James, who had stopped for a moment but kept walking. What if he doesn't want to get in? Edgar smirked and folded his arms as he awaited an amusing conversation. He will not walk past the carriage. He is too curious to do so. Besides, I saw anger in his eyes that night. He recalled when he exited Katrina's bedroom after cutting her face and the butler was there. If anyone wanted to try spreading rumors again, he could mention the messy scandal of a baroness and her butler. If Caleb were James, he would have done his best to avoid Edgar. Based on the one-of-a-kind carriage and the flag with a falcon, the butler should know who had stopped for him. If the butler had any sense, he would walk straight by the carriage, or better yet, run. But, to Caleb's surprise, the man walked right up to the carriage door and opened it himself. James's eyes went straight to Edgar and asked, "What do you want from me?" James knew the Duke had to be up to no good and he should avoid him. But if Edgar Collins wanted to speak with him, there was no way to avoid the man. "Get in. We'll give you a ride. Scoot over," Edgar said to Caleb, who was puzzled. Edgar had to give James credit for being smart enough not to run away. "Have you been demoted from being the butler? If I were to tell Alfred to go shopping for food in the snow, the man would look at me like I was crazy." "Alfred is my butler," Edgar explained, since James wouldn't know. James wanted to reply that he was still the butler, but knew Edgar was already aware. Katrina had not yet started to hire other workers, nor did she let him have their vegetables delivered. So he had to get them himself. The few workers present were already tasked with 2 to 3 jobs. James wanted farmers hired once again to plant vegetables on the Baron's land, to save money and make a profit from what they did not need. James shook the snow off his body, entered the carriage, and sat beside a man he did not know but had seen before. "I am sure you are not being kind just to offer me a ride. You cannot buy my loyalty if you plan to do that. I do not want to work for a man like you." "I am sure you would not when you are receiving such good benefits while working for the Baroness. You are not skilled enough to work in my home, but you seem too good for that house. It is interesting what will stop someone from moving on to something better." "Were you close to the Baron?" Edgar asked, as he wanted to see how long this affair was going on. The man did not seem too bad from the day Edgar first met James. Indeed, he could not have liked the Baron, but was fucking his wife when he was not around. It would prove Edgar's point of looks being deceiving. Such an innocent-looking man was tied up with Katrina. "The Baron gave me a job when I hardly had any experience and desperately needed one. I am grateful to him, so much so that the sight of you angers me for the way you killed him. He was not deserving of such a death," said James. Edgar had abused his power that night, and no one but Katrina was calling him out. Edgar chuckled, entertained by the man screwing the wife of the man he had loyalty to, judging him. He was tempted to call out the affair now, but he would leave it as a card to use in the future. "This is the second time I have heard that today. Tell me, were you kind to my wife when she lived there?" He touched his sword, which stood upright on the other side of the carriage. James replied, "I did not have many interactions with her." "I never had a proper conversation with you about something. The night I killed her father, you were there. Were you helping to drag her into the carriage awaiting her?" "I was going to put her in the carriage since that was what the Baron wanted me to do. As the butler, who am I to go against what my employer wants to do with his daughter?" James asked. There was nothing he could have done back then with his low status. You could have morals and not let her be sent away. I remember you having to convince Sally to follow me. Back then, you were aware of the type of people you worked for and knew you'd get nowhere staying in the late Baron's home. Seems like something in you changed. James interrupted Edgar by saying, "The Baroness has returned the house to its former glory. It would be worthwhile for me to stay and be the butler. Everyone can't be born with a golden spoon like you and not worry about how they'll eat tomorrow. I simply see a good opportunity before me. You do not know me to judge me." "Quite frankly, I am not judging you. I'm giving you a warning. Let that night I took Alessandra away from your home be the last time you listen to someone's orders to do anything to her. A man like yourself shouldn't get tangled up in this mess. Find your morals before you go so far you won't be able to recognize yourself," Edgar advised James. There was a chance that James was just happy to sleep with a woman like Katrina, or that he was receiving something in exchange for his services. So far, the Baroness seemed to care only about herself and her daughter. James could be disposed of at any moment, but whatever he could gain from Katrina was blinding him. "I still have my morals," James stated, but then he felt a pang in his chest as he remembered telling Mario's secret and poisoning Clark for Katrina. "I do not need a man like you speaking about morals. I have heard about the things you have done in your life. Does Alessandra even know the real you, or are you just pretending to be a hero in front of her?" Edgar shook his head at James's stupidity. "This town is so stupid. It makes me wonder if I am as stupid as all of you for not moving," he muttered. Why on earth would he have to pretend in front of Alessandra? When Edgar was with Alessandra, she would see his playful side because he enjoyed messing with her, and she was fun to be around. People who claimed that was not the real him were usually the ones who pissed him off, so of course they would not see his playful side. Piss him, try to kill him, mess with those he cares about, and you will see this monster side of him. Why did people poke at him and expect him to smile back? James would like it if Edgar would move. "You should apologize to the Baroness for cutting her face. She was not deserving of it." "Sure," Edgar replied, making Caleb look at him like he had grown another head. "When everyone in that house apologizes to my wife for their actions, I will apologize to the Baroness." James could not respond to this, since neither Katrina nor Kate would ever apologize to Alessandra for what they did. The servants would do so because of Alessandra's new status. "I cut a small part of her face, while one side of my wife's face is full of scratches because of jealousy. Yet you want me to be the one making the apologies? I take my words back about finding your morals and leaving that house. You fit right in with the rest of them. Now that I have a better understanding of the type of person you are, I will keep an eye out for you." "If you are planning to kill me, just get it over with," James interjected, as he did not want to be paranoid waiting for it to happen. "It's no fun when you accept death so easily. Besides, you will be responsible for your death, which is why I am leaving you alone after you tried to help send my wife away. Do not blame me or anyone else when your world comes crashing down because of your decisions. It is all you," Edgar said, then tapped the carriage to make it stop. "You can get out now." James looked outside and saw they were nowhere near the Baron's house. "We have not arrived there yet." "I said I would give you a ride. I never said I would take you all the way there. I have not enjoyed being near that house since I started to itch. Be thankful that I was generous enough to take you this far. Instead of calling me a monster, call me a saint," said Edgar. James did not reply to Edgar's words and stepped out into the cold weather with the bags of food, which were sure to be frozen when he reached his destination. Before he could safely step away from the carriage, it had begun to move, and one of the wheels almost went over his right shoe. James did not take kindly to how Edgar looked down on him and offered advice that he did not need. Plenty of people in this world took advantage of the opportunities before them, so why was he being judged? What did he owe to Alessandra, who now lived a far better life than he did? What did he owe to Mario or Clark? At night, it was hard for him to sleep, as he recalled how betrayed Mario looked each time they locked eyes in the kitchen. Mario was never his friend. They were only servants in the same household. It wasn't like he had it easy either. Whenever Katrina needed to relieve stress, she would call for him, and he would have to please her late into the night. It is wrong, James thought. This was the same woman who had threatened to claim he had taken advantage of her, but then she turned around and took advantage of him. James was aware he could not trust Katrina, but the more he visited her at night, the more he saw her in a different light. Katrina had not been wrong that he would watch her and admire her body before Desmond died. He was jealous of Desmond many times. So, once he stopped feeling used by her at night, he started to enjoy making love to her. James stood still as he thought of how his mother would judge him for what he had been doing recently. She would never look at him the same because of how she had raised him to be. However, nothing in this world was free, and caring for his mother was expensive. Why shouldn't he use Katrina for money and enjoy the pleasure that came with it? Everyone else would. James dragged himself back to the house, where he found the carriage Katrina and Greta had used to travel to the Duke's home. He shook the snow off his body before entering, and immediately felt like the energy in the house was off. James, it's about time you returned. Have the maids tidy my room and wash the dresses on the floor. I cannot take another second of my mother and grandmother arguing. Kate rolled her eyes as she walked by James and went out the front door. They were arguing? I should... James caught himself before moving to check on Katrina. It was not his place. Still, he could not fight the emotions in his chest and leave her alone. I am a fool, James concluded as he headed towards Katrina's bedroom.